He'll fling it. Oh! That's going to count!
No, I wasn't expecting him to have the success that he had, but it was a very nice surprise.
Connor's been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys. Anybody inquire about that number 2 pick?
We need contributions from other people.
Who else has got to step up?
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
Who do you think is the number 1 player?
Week 5 in the books here in Major League Lacrosse. Time for another edition of MLL Press Pass. Travis Eldridge with you. Emerson Latzia going to join me in just a second. We had a 4-pack of games on Saturday night, bringing an absolute ton of highlights. The Atlanta Blaze, though, on the wrong side of a 1-goal game. Liam Banks, their head coach, joins us now. And Liam, why don't we just start off? You guys were clicking, and then came the fourth quarter. What was different there in that down this stretch where the Rattlers were able to sneak out a win?
Yeah, I think that we played 3 really good quarters of lacrosse against an excellent Rattlers team. We made really good decisions, both offensively and defensively. We scrapped it up for the most part at the face-off X, and it seemed like in the fourth quarter we kind of lost ourselves. We lost our intensity in what we were doing. We didn't really play the guys' strengths the way we did in the previous 3 quarters, and they've got some more possessions at the face-off X. So we'll learn from it. I thought we played a championship-style team in the Rattlers with all their guys back, and we'll move on and lick our wounds and move on to the next game.
At the face-off position, you mentioned the struggles. Obviously, you hope things get better maybe when you get Jake Withers back in. At this point, is it trying to just kind of bide time before you get him back into the lineup?
I think with the MLL rules, if you can go 50% because of the shot clock, you really have a good chance of being in every single game. So that's a mark that we were very close to during, our wins, and in the losses we weren't. So, Brett's done a nice job of scrapping up for us. Our wings have been excellent with Scott Ratliff and Liam Burns up there, but we do need to improve in that position, and we'll challenge Brett and look for Jake to come back and help us in the second part of the season.
One of the guys that got off to an absolute terrific start in this game against Dallas was Tommy Palasek. He scores 4 goals. What is it like to have a guy with that type of skill in or around the crease?
I'm really happy with Tommy's play. A lot of times, he doesn't get those 4 goals, but he does a lot of things that other guys don't. The layman necessarily doesn't see, but a coach is seeing, whether it's a big ground ball or cutting through and making the extra pass. And in the first quarter, we need him to score. They pushed out on Kevin Rice. They're doing a nice job on Dean McClass and our other guys. So, it was an opportunity for Tommy to step up, and he did a really nice job. And, even towards the third quarter, he was beating his man, and John Galloway made some really nice saves. So, we'll look for Tommy to continue to be one of the anchors down there on attack and help lead us through the rest of the season.
Another guy on offense that had a couple of goals was John Upgren, specifically that goal in the second quarter where I think it was John Rannigan that he matched up with at the other end, and the confidence to just keep going knowing he liked his matchup. What have you seen from him, a guy who's a Division III player in college, but it seems like he's starting to find himself in this league?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, Central Ford did a great job of picking up Uppy late in the season last year. As one of those guys who were left unprotected, and we were able to pick him up for this season. And obviously with his college commitments, coaching over at Tufts, he wasn't able to be there for some of our early games. So we were happy that he was able to come back, and we'll look to grow with him. He's obviously a lefty who can shoot the ball, he can dodge, and he makes some really good decisions. So we'll look for him to continue to grow and mold into the team, and hopefully he'll continue to produce, because we need production out of our midfield. It's an important part of the future of what we're going to do, and our attack will get their points, but we need midfielders who can beat guys and put pressure on the defense.
Speaking of midfielders who can beat some guys, I'm sure you probably have your eyes on Connor Kelly, your draft pick, as he plays on here Memorial Day weekend. What have you seen from him as he plays on in this NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. I'm actually headed up to the Final Four, as that I have since every year since 1987. So we'll be headed up with the family, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the guys on the big stage. Between him and McClancy, it's going to be nice to see these guys compete on the highest stage possible. And I've watched both of them play throughout the course of the year. I think they're excellent midfielders. They're fundamentally sound. Both can shoot it. Both can do different things, and they're dynamic players. But as you know, Travis, everybody in this league is a dynamic player. So until they get here and get accustomed with the way the league runs and really feels comfortable within the league, we won't know exactly what we have. But we're certainly bullish on both of them and the other guys that we had come in. And we like what Austin Sims has done early, and he had another goal against the Rattlers. So we're slowly coming along and figuring out who we are. And we hope by the time we get to June, the end of June, we're in a position where we're molded as a team, and we have our final roster going into the July-August playoff push.
You're coming here to championship weekend. You got a quick prediction for me?
Oh, a lot of great coaches. If you saw a great fact out there, there's all 4 coaches from the state of New York, which I love to see. We'll see. It'll be what seniors step up, and I would love to see Albany do it. I love what Scott Moore has done. He depths the player. He's done a really nice job. A guy who goes to the Carter Dome every year to play there, to help build his program into what it is, and he's just a great guy. So, but nice to see Scotty. But they're all great guys in that crew. So, my prediction is that Albany finally breaks through and gets it done.
There you go. That would be cool to see. And we'll get our Syracuse Orange back there sometime soon. Liam, appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Well, Travis, one more thing about those Syracuse Orange, all right? A big, huge congrats to my man Ryan Powell getting inducted into the Lacrosse Hall of Fame. One of the best players to ever play the game, sometimes overshadowed by the greatness of Casey and Michael. But congrats to Rhino going into the Hall of Fame, exactly where he belongs. Yeah, I could not agree more. Liam, thanks for the time. Yep, have a good day. Coming up here on Press Pass, what happened to the Cannons in the second half against Chesapeake? We'll ask head coach Sean Quirk. Plus, the Hounds going to have to wait a little bit longer to get Albany's Connor Fields in the lineup. We'll chat with Coach Jim Stagnita coming up.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Impressed. What a move. Coming in there.
Another great job by Edwards in transition. Just getting underneath, having that savvy.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to MLL Press Pass. You know that already. You are watching MLL Press Pass. Our next head honcho joining the program, though, a man right up the road from here, Boston, Sean Quirk. What's good, man?
How we doing, gentlemen? Good to be on.
Good, Coach. Good. Why don't we just start off? You guys had a chance to play at Hingham High School here last weekend. Obviously, it didn't go the way you ultimately wanted, but what are your thoughts on a rain-soaked Hingham High School game?
Yeah, we played down there last weekend against the Bayhawks. We have 2 games up on the North Shore in June up at Endicott College. So, those 3 games are to get out into the community and bring our brand, bring our organization more out to the fans. And it was a great crowd out at Hingham. Obviously not the result we wanted, but certainly a great atmosphere for an MLL game.
Hey, Coach, leading 8-4 at half, where did this one go wrong for you guys?
Yeah, that first half we played obviously really well. Bayhawks are an excellent team from offense to defense. Like every team in this league, they have a lot of talent. But we executed on offense really well. We made easy plays. We didn't turn the ball over. We limited transition. So a lot of those things that we kind of game planned and knew that we had to do to be successful worked out well. Tim Edwards had a couple goals in transition for us going from defense to offense. Really, in that second half, I felt some of the breakdowns were on defense, particularly, Miles Jones, Challen Rogers did a great job on him, one-on-one matchup. but we're sometimes a little bit late getting to him with a slide. And he's a big, strong guy that can get to the cage, and he did really well in that second half. Offensively, we didn't produce like we did in the first half, but Chesapeake's defense kind of shut us down a little bit and didn't give us those opportunities with the two-man game that we had some success with it in that first half.
Coach, you mentioned Miles Jones and the short stick matchup he had there with Challen Rogers on your defense. And obviously, he goes off for 5 goals, a lot of them coming in that second half. At what point did you feel like, was there ever any consideration to changing what you were doing against Miles with how effective he was?
Yeah, in the first half, Challen he was winning that one-on-one matchup. So then in the second half, we kind of game planned, to go to him a little bit earlier. And, even when we went on 2 of his goals in the second half, he just basically shot over that slide guy and, stuck some really good goals in on Tyler Fiorito, who played an excellent game as well.
Hey, Coach, how impressed were you with Zed Williams in his Boston debut?
He was a great addition. We started him off at the midfield and was playing well there. And then, Pinnell playing X in place of Will Sands because he was unavailable due to his college graduation, was having, a little bit of a tough time feeding from behind. So we put Zed back there and, we moved Pinnell over to that righty wing. And, it worked out pretty well for us, but not enough to get the victory.
So obviously the big question for you moving forward after this bye week will be how quickly you can possibly get Trevor Baptiste in the lineup. The top overall pick from Denver has now done his college career. What are the conversations going on about when he may be available for you and when you may get a chance to take a look at him on the field?
Yeah, we've spoken to Trevor, since his last game against University of Albany, and obviously he had a great career in Denver, and he's really excited, guys, to get up to Boston and start playing for us. So he's available, as early as that June 2nd game because we do have the bye week, and, we'll certainly start to get him infiltrated into our team and what we're doing right away. So we're certainly excited to have him up in Boston.
Any thoughts on how you're going to work things with Joe Nardella, who's been terrific for you guys, and then also bringing in one of the best face-off athletes to ever play in the college game in Trevor Baptiste?
Definitely. It's a question that's come up a lot, obviously, since we drafted, Trevor, and Joe gives us so much at the face-off X and what he has done and what he will continue to do. Certainly for Boston and the community, we'll have to sort those things out. And, in the past we have dressed, 2 face-off guys when we have 2 really good ones. Sometimes we've gone with just one. So, we got to kind of sort those things out, to be honest with you, up here and see what's best for the team and moving forward.
All right, Coach, you're lucky enough to live just right up the road from Gillette Stadium. We know the Final Four is going down this weekend. What are your what do you got planned?
Excited to get down there for some college lacrosse. It's a festive weekend. I'll be down there with my family, my one of my closest friends and college roommates and college, guy that I always spent a lot of time with at Springfield, Brad Jurgensen. He's coaching the D2 final game, so it'll be fun to check that game out in particular against Merrimack. Should be a good battle, but yeah, looking forward to some good lacrosse this weekend.
Yeah, Coach, going to be a lot of fun. We hope we see you down there. Enjoy championship weekend and the bye week. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Coming up here on Press Pass, not enough bark for the Hounds in Outlaws country on Saturday night. How the team is taking loss number 1. We'll ask Coach Jim Stagnita.
Plus, the bad man was all good for the Bayhawks on Saturday night. What Coach Dave Cottle sees from Miles Jones. Find out next.
Sometimes you do some things and change some things up to get a different spark.
Connor's been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Quick move and a score. Coming out fast from behind the Denver goal was John Crawley, and now it's a 1-goal game.
For the first time this season, not enough of those goals to put the Hounds over the top. Charlotte dropping this one in Denver. Coach Jim Stagnita is with us now. Coach, first loss of the season, and it seemed like, I mean, you just were digging out of a hole from the very beginning with that 7-goal first quarter you gave up. How did the Outlaws get off to such a fast start?
I think it's a combination of things. I think they played with a sense of urgency that we didn't. You know, their backs are up against the wall, and we had talked about it. And, you know, they're, despite what their lineup is, they have good coaches and a veteran. You know, they've got guys who've been there before. This isn't a situation they haven't been in. It's a tough place to play. And coming off 2 weeks off in this league, it's tough to regroup quickly. And, you know, I think they had some momentum right from the start. They won the first few faceoffs. You know, we weren't consistent there. We missed a couple early opportunities. We were a little sluggish, you know, late night practice the night before. And, you know, to be perfectly honest, I'm to blame as much as anyone else. I don't believe that and feel like I prepared them for the lineup that, you know, that we saw. You know, they put some new people in there, and I don't necessarily know that we adjusted to that the way we probably should have. So I think there's a lot of blame to go around, but at the end of the day, you know, none of us were prepared or ready to play against a team that was ready to play at the level and with the intensity that Denver played with.
Coach, how hard was it containing Denver rookie Chris Cloutier?
Well, it was hard, you know, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I've never seen, you know, I've seen him play in college. I know he's a talented kid. And, you know, besides spending some time within the elevator, you know, I hadn't really been up that close and personal with him. And, you know, we probably didn't have the right personnel that day to match up with, you know, with them. And that would have been whether Kavanaugh was in the lineup, you know, or not. But, you know, to Cloutier's, you know, to tip your hat to him. I mean, the kid had a hell of a game. He made plays. He picked up loose balls. He beat us dodging. He beat us off ball. He's going to be a really good player in that league. His skill set is perfect for that. And, you know, we just didn't have the right people matching up, and certainly we didn't pay enough attention to him.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned an interesting point. This is a tough time of year, kind of on both sides, but it seems like defensively, when you have a rookie like Chris Cloutier come in, how do you try to adjust in-game with what you're dealing with when you see a guy like Cloutier for the first time who maybe you weren't sure was going to be in the lineup the night before?
Well, you know, our biggest challenge with them, Travis, was they're really good off-ball players. You know, Eric Law, who I drafted and coached, and I love the kid. He's just a heady, terrific, you know, all around player. And you know, Cloutier is another guy who has a diverse skill set. So both of those two guys, you know, are really good off the ball. And as is, you know, if Kavanaugh's in the lineup, you know, he is too. And Balestry's a good off-ball player too, and he's good with the ball. So it wasn't, you know, our lineup that night wasn't one that was really is the best off-ball lineup that, you know, that we can put out there. So I had some concerns going in. That being said, if we had a few more possessions, a little more, you know, we're a little more consistent at the X, you know, part of that goes to the fact that they had a lot of possessions. And eventually, you know, with that many possessions, a team like Denver's going to score goals.
Hey, Coach, how do you see Noah Rack fitting in once he joins this team, and how do you see him mixing with Kevin Massa?
Well, again, one of our goals this year was to be more consistent at the X. And, you know, Kev's given us some real strong games, and in those games we scored a lot of goals. You know, a lot of it's about matchup. So, you know, Noah, we picked him up pretty early in the draft. We knew we wanted we wanted some insurance there at the face-off, and Noah's a little bit, you know, coming right off the college game, and he gives us another look at the X, and you know, on a day where we're not clicking or Kevin's not, you know, Kevin doesn't match well, you know, second time around in this league, we have an opportunity to make some adjustments and use Noah in that position also. And we haven't necessarily had that luxury, but it gives us some depth there that we haven't had.
Never a bad thing to have other options there at the face-off X. Matt Rambo, this is probably one of his quieter games this season. What did the Outlaws do defensively to give him some issues?
I think Matt just didn't have a good day. He didn't make it in the night before. He had 2 weeks off. He got in day of. Didn't actually necessarily handle that piece of it particularly well. He never got into a flow, I don't think, right from the first whistle. And we need Matt Rambo to be a part of our offense. We need Matt to score and distribute and be someone that the other team needs to pay attention to. And it's going to happen. And he's not the only one. I mean, we can go down the roster, like I said, starting with me. We were not prepared. The 2 weeks off, we lost a little bit of our momentum and our focus, and went into a tough place to play against a tough team. So, Matt, but we certainly, on any given day, we need Matt Rambo to be a focal point of our offense and someone who drives our offense and draws attention. And certainly, but he wasn't the only one. We just didn't have a good night. It was a bad day to have a bad day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we all have.
We all have bad days.
I tend to have more of those than good ones. Hey, we'll get you out of here with this though, Coach. Connor Fields obviously in action this weekend with Albany taking on Yale. How glued are you going to be to that game?
Well, I've enjoyed watching him obviously through the year. At the same time, our interest is in making sure that he's healthy and ready. When the time comes, I do hope we see him later than sooner. I love Scotty Marr, and I'm pumped that they're there, and I think that's great for that program, and it's great for Connor, and we'll play the Connor thing by ear, seeing how he is when he finishes this up, but hopefully he gets to play a couple more games.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch here at Championship Weekend. Coach, enjoy. Good luck this weekend, and we'll catch up again next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Still to come, Chesapeake using a big fourth quarter to bounce Boston in the rain on Saturday. We'll break it down with Coach Kopp.
All right, plus Joel White making his return for the Rattlers, and it was a good one. We will chat with Coach Bill Warder coming up.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
McKay with Mitch Belisle on him. McKay barreling through. His first MLL goal comes in Hingham. And Chesapeake is within 2.
Lots of excited Vermonters out
yes.
there. Well, the Chesapeake Bayhawks staring adversity in the face over the weekend at Hingham High School. So what do? They punch adversity in the face. And the man who led the charge is head coach Dave Cottle, hopping on with us now. Coach, you're down 8-4 at halftime. You score the final 6 goals of the game. How were you guys able to just turn it on?
Well, I didn't think there was a whole lot of panic on our sideline when we got down. Guys were just trying to figure out how they could get the next goal, and I think defensively we really played a lot better in the second half, only giving up 3 goals in the second half. But, this was a win by the players. They played hard. They played focus. And, Boston clearly outplayed us in the first half, and we got better in the second half.
Coach, when we talk about Miles Jones, he scores 5 goals for you, and it seemed like he almost took that short stick matchup personally. Did you get that feeling with how he played in the second half?
Well, I have said, and I think I said to you last week, that I think he's been playing as well as anybody on the offensive end of the field. And for us, we had a lot of scenarios, but we didn't have Miles being covered by a shorty as one of them. And so we just had to not be so impatient so that once we got him moving, when we did get the ball to Miles, he had an opportunity to dodge and they couldn't get a slide to him.
Coach, how much do you enjoy waking up and not having to draw up a defensive game plan for that guy?
Well, and he's a big man. And at last year I think he was 3rd in the league in shooting on the run. And we had a period of time early in the season where he was 1 for 20. So he, on his own time, he put a lot of practice in, and I think he had 2 the next game, and I think he had 4 of them or 5 of them, quite honestly, that were on the run in the last game. So when he puts his mind to it, he can get it fixed.
Yeah, he's a scary guy. I wouldn't want to stand in goal with a Miles Jones shot on the run coming my way. And that is why I don't play goalie in Major League Lacrosse. Another guy who had a nice little game, and his debut was Ian McKay for you guys coming out of Vermont. You have a crowded offense as you continue to get all the pieces in. What kind of role can McKay find himself in for you guys in his first year?
Well, first of all, he's left-handed. Second of all, he's good in a 2-man game. And now that we have Josh Byrne back, having somebody who can play the 2-man game with him is very helpful. He's a much better defensive player than he kind of looks, and he got some tough ground balls. And these indoor guys are pretty tough, and because they've been challenged physically. And I just like him. I like his game, and you never have too many guys. That's all I can tell you.
Fair.
Yes.
Take good players wherever you can get them.
Point. Yes. The more the merrier. Coach, Jake Verkar, 4 points through 5 games, had 27 and 9 as a rookie last year. Why, in your opinion, is he off to such a slow start?
Well, he got hurt. He hurt his shoulder in one of the games and played through it. And, in fact, he hurt it in a Charlotte game. We're at that point in time that we need him to be a little more productive. I think what you're saying is accurate. And we have a bye this week, but when we come back next Thursday and Friday for practice, it's open season for tryouts, and the guys that are the most productive are going to play right now. And whatever the reason is, we're going to have to play better in Jake's position. And so we'll see what happens.
In goal, you spoke about it last week. You didn't feel like you did enough in front of Nico Amato in that shootout you guys had in Denver. He made 13 saves for you this week. Did you feel like you were better in front of him?
I think that early we played defense with our goalie in the first half, and luckily for Nico, he held up for us. And then I thought in the second half we played much better defense and reduced the amount of shots that he was seeing. And overall, I thought Nico played a lot better this week than he did last week. And he gave us some energy and some toughness and some competitiveness, and that's kind of who he is.
Yeah, and the other guy is Steele Stanwyck. It's got to be so good to have a guy like Steele who's kind of been there, done that, and mixed into this offense especially when you add in some of the rookies like an Ian McKay.
Yeah, no question, and we're looking forward to adding in Lyle Thompson in our next game with Steele. I think Steele makes everybody on the field better. He's egoless. He's intelligent. As a coach, he recognizes tempo. He recognizes when we're not playing offense the right way, and he is a first-class human being. So I think, he's played hurt. He got hurt right before the Denver game, and we didn't even know if he was going to play, and then he battled through it last week. So, when we get him healthy and, when you have guys that make other guys better, then you have something special, and hopefully we can continue to try to grow as a unit together.
Finally, before we let you go, obviously it's championship weekend. We know you like the Terps, but you got any other predictions for us?
Well, it's funny. When you watch Yale, for those weeks leading up to the Ivy League tournament, they look like a team that had everything together. They were diving for end-line balls and sideline balls and everything like that. And then they kind of got kicked in the teeth a little bit about Cornell, and it took the edge off them a little bit. I think Yale will play much better this week than they did against UMass, and probably even against Loyola. I think they just outfought Loyola, and Loyola had a tough time running by them. I think Yale's going to be a factor, and I do think the Duke-Maryland game, of all the teams that Maryland's playing, Duke physically can kind of match up with them. So that's going to be another interesting game.
There you go. The full breakdown from Coach Dave Cottle. He's now going to be a part-time analyst here at LSN.
We would welcome you with open arms, Coach. We could use an analyst right about now.
We appreciate the time, Coach. Enjoy the weekend, and good luck as you have the bye week here.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Coming up next on Press Pass, Dallas. They've got the flair for the dramatic at home so far this season. 2 OT wins so far at home at the Star. We'll talk with Coach Bill Warder.
All right, plus the Outlaws can't get enough of Chris Cloutier, the rookie, putting up a six-pack.
It's a sock
in his
trick.
debut. We'll talk with Coach B.J. O'Hara on his late-round draft pick.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
It'll be a tough one for Atlanta to swallow here. At one time being up by 6. And McNamara wins it for Dallas. 30 seconds into overtime. 15-14, the Rattlers win.
Dallas did it again. 2 games at home in the Star in Frisco, 2 overtime wins. Coach Bill Warder joining us on the phone after taking down Atlanta on Saturday night. Coach, we got to start here because it's like you had a full new team when you add in Joe White and you have Randy Stotts and Jordan McIntosh and all the new pieces that you bring in. What was the atmosphere like in the locker room having all those pieces back?
Well, I think, those guys have played a lot of games. I mean, even Randy, we originally drafted, but Joel, Jordan McIntosh, John Rannigan, I mean, those guys have had a huge part of our success, those previous championship games we went to. And so it's the same team, same concept. And you're bringing in some guys that have ton of leadership experience and, just didn't, don't break at all.
Coach, the only time you led in this game was with Ryan McNamara's overtime winner here. So what did we learn about our team?
Well, I think that, we were on the struggle bus a little bit, I guess, in the first quarter, just couldn't connect. And, we were playing pretty hard. We just weren't, executing our, the fundamentals, stick skills and catching and throwing. I mean, to be completely transparent, but, what we learned was that we just, we didn't get unraveled, just stayed the course, believe in the process. And I know that's kind of cliche a little bit, but, it's something we talk a lot about is just, sticking to the fundamentals, playing, in the MLL, playing every, 2-3 possessions, and winning every 2 or 3 possessions at a time, not worrying about the scoreboard and just, and you can chip away in the MLL. It's a game of runs. Everyone knows that. Every team knows that. It's a game of runs. And just, if you don't unravel, you can chip away. And, I learned a ton by those guys, just the commitment and dedication and trust in each other. And, they didn't unravel.
When you look at Ryan McNamara, he's quietly put together a nice little a career here in Major League Lacrosse early on. What have you noticed about his game and how he fits in your offense?
He's a really dynamic player. He's very fast. Great shot from the outside. He can stretch the defense, from outside the 2-point arc. Can go either hand, right hand, left hand. Great personality, awesome team guy. Great guy in the locker room. So he's just a really. I mean, he's a fundamentally a very good player too. He puts. He's just sticks always. Right or left-handed. And like I said, that's where he's pretty dangerous. He's not predictable. He's very unpredictable, and so he can pull up from 17, or he can dodge right by you and go down the alley as well.
Hey, Coach, Randy Stotts in his Dallas debut and against his former team had a hat trick, had an assist. So how much more motivated are players, say, when they play the team that just traded him? Is that a thing around Major League Lacrosse, guys getting up a little bit for a team that might have just dealt them?
It's funny, Randy, the reason Randy ended up in Atlanta was, during that supplemental season, when Atlanta was added, we couldn't protect Randy and we lost him. They picked him up. I think that's how it all happened. So, we drafted Randy. He's an upstate guy, went to Syracuse. We loved Randy. And so for us to, make a move in the offseason and bring him back, I mean, it was back in December, I think, when that happened. I mean, the conversation that started just in the locker room, just the between the team, like, yes, we got one of our own guys back, so it wasn't, I think, so much Atlanta, hate for Atlanta. I mean, he loved Atlanta. He had a great time there and good teammates. But I think it was, we loved him a lot, and it was bringing him back in. And one of the things motivating this week, which kind of came full circle, we, last year we lost to Atlanta in overtime up in Rochester. And, I communicated to the team this week. I said, hey, guys, this is going to be a tough home contest. This is a team that, beat us in overtime last year, game-winning goal. I said, the good news is the guy that scored that goal is on our team this year, right? And so, Randy scored that goal. He dodged Matt Dunn and, made a nice inside move. And so at least we don't have to play against this guy this week. He's and that's why we re-picked him up, was that he's such a, dangerous player.
Yeah, if you can't beat him when he's on the other team, you just bring him onto your team. Let him join your squad.
Yeah, you guys just loved him a little more.
Yeah, then you don't have to game plan for him. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great strategy. A guy. Speaking of some of the olden days of the Rattlers, I guess like the last couple of years, you had Tim Sudan back there on the sideline joining your team down there in Dallas. How cool was it to have Coach Sudan join you guys?
Tim, I think, is an unbelievable lacrosse mind. I mean, all the different levels, world team, collegiate, indoor, outdoor, U.S. box, U.S., outdoor, being the head of the Rattlers for, all this time, and I said in the post game, Tim built this team. He drafted every single one of those guys, established the foundation, established the bricks, to build the team. And there's no one better than someone who, understands the personnel, understands the players, understands the personalities, but more importantly, tactically understands how to win a lacrosse game. And that is in the moment. And you think of that game, it comes down to I think if you look in those huddles, the last couple minutes there, Tim and I were talking, and I'm asking him for, we're just talking about, the right. Hey, if we get the situation, what's going to happen? And so you have to have a tactical conversation there in the moment, and you can't game plan for that. You can't prepare for that during the week, and you have to have good minds. We're so fortunate Jeremy Boltis is there, right? And former MLL All-Star. You get Tim Sudan and the tactical decisions to make. Okay, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to make this play? How do we play this last 3 minutes to close this gap here? Those conversations are, Tim is, world-class expert at that. And so to have him in, obviously, huge team guy, big morale boost. He's unbelievable. Tim's an amazing lacrosse mind, and one of the all-time greats in the MLL and U.S. lacrosse. So how do you not, if you have an opportunity to bring him in, how do you not bring him in to help for a win?
Yeah, pretty much a no-brainer.
Yep. Smart move on that one, Coach. Bill, we'll get you out of here with this. 4-2 in your first season in Dallas, your first season as head coach. I mean, had I told you before this campaign that this is where you guys would be at this point in the season, what would you have said to me?
Well, I think I would have said, hey, I'll take it, right? I mean, I think most teams in the MLL, and everyone's always commenting on the different seasons of the MLL. Like, okay, there's the first, 3-4 games, there's the kind of middle 4 games, and there's the last, 5-6 games and teams are trying to establish lineups. You get the influx of collegiate guys, NLL guys go down. And so, anytime, regardless of, what time of the season it is, anytime that you can come out on top, it's and put yourself in a position to, make the playoffs, intact. It's it's pretty special. So I think it's something, we're pretty happy where we are. I think, we look back on it that, okay, we might have actually let one get away in Charlotte. We let one get away in, Ohio a little bit too. And on the flip side, we took 2 at home in overtime. So it's, that's this league. And I think, the one thing, I know Memorial Day is big for college lacrosse, but if you haven't seen an MLL game and you want to see excitement, you want to see, rivalries and passion, you go watch the last 3 minutes of an MLL game, and it is, if a team's down by 4 or up by 5, I mean, it is intense. And that's, every game matters. Every game, every play matters, and it's huge. That's, you're never out of it. We were in the locker room there and said, hey guys, listen, it's 10-6. That's 2. And I turned to McNamara, I said, Mac, that's 2 shots for you, buddy. You got 2 shots, right? Like, yeah, I got 2 shots. And you just turn and, okay, 4 goals is nothing in this league. And that's something that we're very fortunate. Got a really tough game this weekend against a playoff team. Awesome opponent in Florida. Unbelievable coach. Great goaltender. Huge attack. This is a huge test for us this weekend. And I know it's huge. They're thinking the same thing. So it's every game's huge.
Coach, we appreciate the time, and you now just added Pitchman for Major League Lacrosse to your resume. We appreciate the time, and good luck this week.
You gotta.
I know. Hey, whoa,
that was phenomenal, man. I just went on and bought the season pass after hearing
if no one's seen an MLL game, just come see a Dallas home game. We're gonna, give you an overtime thriller. So just watch our game. So it's a
heck of a venue.
Get your money's worth.
Yeah, great strategy to get the fans coming back. Coach, thanks.
That's right. Just how we drew it up.
Coming up here on Press Pass, Denver broke out for a big performance at home in the Mile High City. Can they use that momentum? We'll bring on Coach B.J. O'Hara.
All right, plus 9 combined goals from Kieran McCardle and Dylan Malloy. That was not enough, though, for the launch against the Lizards. We will talk with Florida coach Tom Mariano as we continue on Press Pass.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
Welcome back here to Press Pass. Travis Eldridge, Emerson Latzia back with you. Taking a look at the standings at this point in the season through 5 weeks. The Hounds taking that first loss, but still atop the standings. The Rattlers hot on their tails. At the bottom, the Outlaws getting a win this weekend, but still sitting at 2-4, a couple of games back of playoff spot.
Is he a shooter tonight, a feeder? Is he doing it all?
Oh, there's a save by Cipriano, but the Outlaws get the rebound and score.
Is that Cloutier again, or was that Balestri?
Rebound, Cloutier. Yep, that's Cloutier. What a welcome to the MLL.
Yeah, going up against the best team, the only undefeated team in Major League Lacrosse. That ain't no thing for B.J. O'Hara and company. Heck of a weekend. Welcome into the show, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
You like handing a team its first loss, ending its best start in franchise history. You know, now the 14-0 talk, we're throwing it out the window. Like, you ruined everything.
Yeah, I know Jim Stagnita's been around long enough to know that that's pretty naive thinking that you could go undefeated in this league. It's a rarity.
Yeah, it certainly is. Another thing that is a rarity is a guy coming into this league and scoring 6 goals in his debut, but that's what Chris Cloutier did coming out of North Carolina. What'd you see from him?
Well, he made us look like geniuses getting him in the first game. We actually had hoped to get him in much earlier because the North Carolina season ended a while ago, but theoretically they were still eligible for NCAA tournament play. So as a result, we could not use him. But getting him in, we were excited, and we talked to the Carolina staff before we selected him, and they were really high on him. They think he's really built for the MLL. He's a big body and can get his own shot lots of different ways. He's also a good setup shooter. So it was really, really fun to see him come out of the gate. I think he scored our first 3 goals. So it was a good one.
Yeah, that's a decent way to welcome yourself into this league. On that offense, you have a crowded spot there now as you add in Cloutier. You brought in Balestri through the trade with Boston. How do you feel like Cloutier can find a spot on the field?
Well, with he and Kavanaugh on that left side at attack, we can kind of shuttle them in and out in terms of coming out of the box and trying to match a short stick. Either one of those guys against a shorty, I like our chances. We'll probably look to do some of that. I think the key everywhere in this league is making sure you got depth at every position because you never know what's going to happen. And to have a guy, Cavi was out with an injury, and to be able to slip Chris in there like that and have that kind of game, that's a real luxury.
And Coach Max Adler at the X, highly successful in his first game of the season. What did he mean to this win?
Oh, it really. He was tremendous. We don't officially give out game balls, but in my mind, he certainly deserved one. We got up early, and then Charlotte came back at us as we knew they would. But whenever they scored, we always felt like we had a better than average chance of getting the ball back and stopping their run, and that's exactly the way the game went. He was tremendous.
You mentioned Kavanaugh in that injury. Obviously, you have a bye week here. Are you confident that you can get him back sooner rather than later?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be ready to go.
All right, fair enough. Why don't we go to another guy that had some production for you guys offensively? Romar Dennis's ability to get his own shot is incredible. I mean, what do you see in his development now in his second year?
He's got just so much potential. I don't know how anybody can stop him from getting his shot. His issue has, and I don't think it's any secret, his issue has been his shot locations, and getting it on the net and getting in a spot and making it tough for the goalie. Because when he does, you can't stop him either hand. So we just got to work on, getting those reps in and during the week and getting that shot a little bit more fine-tuned.
Well, Coach, Eric Law with a season-high 5 goals. He's tied for 8th in the league in points. What has stood out to you about his play through the first 6 games of this season?
Eric is, in addition to being one of our real great leaders, he's just got a great lacrosse IQ. He can score lots of different ways. He's good off the ball. He can dodge. He can feed the ball. He's just a total complete attackman. He does everything well, and he's a hell of a teammate. So we count on him for lots and lots of things.
Just overall, as your team heads into a bye week here this weekend, how important was it for you guys to get that second win of the season?
I can't say, I can't overstate it. It was a big one. The guys were really excited after. We knew we had our hands full with undefeated Charlotte coming in, and they're an awfully good team. They're just at every spot, they're tough. So it really gave us a lift. We're still behind a little bit, but we're, we made some progress. And then we got to look at 3 rookies in the lineup. And Max, actually 4. Max has only played 1 game in his last year, so in a sense he's a rookie. So it was just good all the way around. We got some new blood in there, and played well as a team. Got Jack Kelly had a good game after a tough one the week before. So it's right now we're feeling pretty good, but we got to go down to Charlotte next, so we're going to have a tough one down there, no doubt.
All right, Albany, Yale, Duke, Maryland in the Final Four, Coach. It's going down right up the road from our studios here. Who do you like this weekend?
Well, being a New Yorker, I gotta support the University of New York school, Albany. They're fun to watch, and they've never been there, so I'd like to see them come away with it. That's my heart talk.
There you go. BJ O'Hara is on the Dane train.
Let's go, kid.
Breaks it down. Coach, we appreciate the time. Enjoy the bye week.
You bet, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Still to come here on Press Pass. Florida's Tom Mariano joining us. How the launch will look to bounce back with Dallas visiting this weekend.
All right, plus, what did Lizards coach Joe Spallina think of the fine for tweeting handed down to defenseman Ryan Flanagan? We will ask him coming up.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of has been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Jules Henneberg. And Henneberg scores his first MLL goal.
Showing you that athleticism and that skill that made him one of the best players in the college game.
So it was a good start for the launch. It included goal number 1 for Jules Henneberg in his MLL career, but not enough to beat New York at home this weekend. Coach Tom Mariano joins us now. Why don't we start with the fast start? You guys got off to a good start there against New York at home. Did it feel like maybe you missed some opportunities with a couple of those early penalties and you couldn't cash in on the man up?
I think it's one of those. We felt like we had a good rhythm, and we liked the things we were doing. But I think, it was, a combination of Drew Adams, I thought, played probably the best game he's played all year, showing why he's still one of the best goalies in the world. And, we missed some opportunities that we needed to take advantage of.
How frustrating is that, Coach, when you give up the game winner with a minute left and you're outscored 6-3 in that final quarter? I mean, you're standing on the sidelines like you're probably ready to pull your hair out.
That's why I shaved my hair really close. I don't have to worry about that. But, I think it's one of those. Listen, everybody's got great players. New York is loaded. They got tons of players. They made a run. We made a run. They made a run. And, I think the key is in that fourth quarter, we had a lot of opportunities we left at the table. We didn't finish off the opportunities we needed to, and New York did, and they took the win and, did a good job of earning one.
Let's talk about a positive for you. We mentioned Jules Henneberg. He scored his MLL first career goal in the league in his debut. What did you see from your first-round draft pick?
I thought he came in poised, calm, collected. Didn't try to do too much. I think sometimes it's nerve-wracking for these guys. I think he came in and did a really good job for us. I think he probably is one of the guys that, he'd like a couple of those opportunities back. but I think it was a great game one for him, high-quality learning experience for him.
How about your top pick from last year, Dylan Malloy? What kind of progress are you seeing here and the changes in his game from year number 1 to year number 2? I know he had a season-high 4 goals this past weekend.
I just think he's an intense competitor who wants to keep getting better, and I think that, every time he touches the ball, people are double and triple teaming him, and I think he has moments where he handles that really well, and then some other moments where he doesn't, but I think it's getting better every time out, and he sees it, and, it's just coming together for him, and very happy with his progress.
I know anytime you lose a close game like this one in this league, it probably feels like a missed opportunity, but you get 9 combined goals from 2 of your stars in Malloy and Kieran McArdle. Did this one really feel like a missed opportunity for you guys at home?
I mean, I think anytime you lose a game in the MLL, like you said, you feel like it's a missed opportunity. I just think it was one of those where we're winning face-offs. We had a lot more possessions than them. And a lot of times that's a good recipe for success. And I think it was for most of the game. We just needed to be a little bit better.
You're wrapping up a 5-game homestand this upcoming weekend here, Coach. How do you feel about the way that the schedule's kind of, has been set up for you guys? The 5-game homestand, but you got 6 of the final 8 on the road. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that stuff I kind of control what I can control. And I don't control the schedule one bit, but I've actually enjoyed it because I think it's allowed all of us to get into routines. I mean, a lot of us take the same flights, the same times.
Yeah, for sure.
You just get into a mindset. And I think for these athletes, that's a big thing. I think our guys have a routine on how they travel to Florida, where they eat, what they do. So I look at it for us, it's been a positive, and the weather's been great. We have a beautiful stadium and great fans. So, in May, it's not nearly as hot as it's going to be in July and August and June. So, those are some positives there.
And another positive is got to be having Tucker Durkin on your team. How did you feel like he was able to really neutralize Rob Padel, who's been playing like maybe the best player in the world the last couple of weeks?
I think the world of Rob Padel, and I think he's one of the top, 3, 4, 5 players in the league. I think when you get to that level, it's hard to say who's better. And I thought Tucker Durkin's game the other day was as good as I've seen in the MLL. I mean, he was outstanding. And, I think it was watching two, every guy in the MLL is good, but you're talking about 2 of the elites in the league just battling. And I thought it was, I actually have watched it a couple times just to kind of be like, wow, look at the 2 of them, like, just the mind battle they had going amongst each other. It was at times it was like they were on their own planet, to be honest.
Yeah, look, it's fun to watch those battles go on. We get a chance to see them just about every week in this league. That was one of the really good ones. Sure. It was fun to watch. Before we let you go, you got predictions for us for championship weekend?
Man, I think I would have liked to have seen Albany and Yale not play in the semifinals.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of Westchester connections and Yorktown connections with Scotty Marr, and there's such a great story in Yale. We've got draft picks there, and I know the coaching staff really well. There's part of me that really wants to see Albany do this the whole way. I think that would be a really cool story. There's just so many great storylines coming out of the Final Four, but I think Albany, to me, right now is the one that's really special. Some of the things that Scotty has done, there's some things that he does behind the scenes that people don't see or know about. You can see why they're so good, and I think it'd be awesome, just kind of last chapter to that storybook for them.
Yeah, he's dealt with injuries to Connor Fields this year. I mean, he has juggled it all, that's for sure.
Another guy on the Dane train here on MLL Press Pass.
You are not the first, Coach. You might be the last, but you're not the first.
Yeah, I think it's hard to root against them.
It's true. Yep. It's true. Well, Coach,
we like Coach Marr.
We appreciate the time. Good luck here this week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
And you can see the launch back in action Saturday night against Dallas. Game time set for 7 p.m. Eastern time down in Boca. Pre-game coverage will be part of our NCAA Championship weekend coverage all day here on Lac Sports Network. You just don't have to leave the app ever, all day long, 9 a.m. all the way through the MLL games.
I leave it up all day, every day, so I can see your pretty face.
Thanks, man.
Coming up, the Lizards got a win and then went team bonding on the beach, shirtless. We'll chat with Coach Joe Spallina, who may or may not have a shirt on.
Let's hope he has a shirt on. Plus, what's Machine Coach Barrett Davis think of draft pick Justin Gutterding's performance in the NCAAs so far? We'll ask the Bear.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
He kind of been paying attention, watching film, talking to guys.
Quite as hard as it had been in the second quarter as the Lizards take their first lead of the night. And it's that man again, this time Marasco. JoJo Marasco, the midfielder, gives New York the lead.
All righty, don't call it a comeback. Well, actually, no, let's go ahead and call it a comeback.
It was a comeback.
Great dub for the Czars down in Boca Raton. Joe Spallina, head coach in New York, hopping on with us now. Coach, how impressed were you with what your guys were able to do there down in FAU Stadium?
I was really happy for the guys. You know, it's something we've had a difficult time with, staying consistent throughout a game, not getting too overwhelmed and just staying the course. And I thought our men did an outstanding job of absorbing a punch and getting one back and just kind of staying there until we had the opportunity to hop up on them. And, wins are not easy to come in this league, to come by in this league. So, for our guys to go get a big road win, and, road wins in the MLL are very underrated because everything's a little different. The post game, everybody kind of has an opportunity to laugh a little bit on the road, as opposed to when you're home and everyone kind of heads back home. So that's a big W for our guys. We needed it. Being 1-4 would have been a tough hole to dig out of, and now we're kind of right back in the fray, and we got another bye. But it gives us an opportunity to get some of our college guys, ready to go, and we're excited to get those guys. We still have all of them except for Joel Tinney playing in the Final Four.
Yeah, that's a good luxury to have. I got to ask, before we talk more about this game, about the news of the week. Of course, I'm sure you've seen it. Ryan Flanagan tweeted after that game, and then he announced on Twitter just yesterday that he's been fined by the Major League Lacrosse Commissioner Sandy Brown for sending out that tweet. What are your thoughts?
I would love to give you my thoughts, but I got I don't want to over It's a very it's tough. I mean, it really is tough. It's I know our guys. I don't think Ryan did it in a malicious manner. And the league obviously took offense to it. There are other things that have been out there in social media, that other organizations had put out there that I would look at as more offensive than him stating what he stated. Do I think it's a little overreactionary? I don't know the backstory to it, but if you're going to go just by that one event, I was taken back by the entire thing, and I know it's been a hot topic in our team chat, so that's all I'll really say with that. And as I got 5 kids, I can't afford to get fined.
Okay, so maybe you will or will not answer this next one then, Coach. I mean, I know they're doing some renovations down there at FAU Stadium. Should there, though, be better accommodations for visiting teams when they go down there to FAU and you got the launch just in one locker room and the visiting team has to, sit there in a tent and change in a tent and no showers?
My thing has always been, and it's like this in the NCAA, is what one team has, the other team should have. So if we're in a tent, they should be in a tent. If they're in a locker room, we should be in a locker room. That's my opinion on it. So I think it's one of those things where my dog is trying to attack Will Manny right now. So it's all good now.
That's okay. We're big dog people on the program.
Yeah, there you go. Good. So, I think it's got to be, that's one of the things in NCAA, everything's across the board even, and it's fair. And I think what that does, it just takes away what they have, we have, and it kind of levels the playing field. I don't think guys feel one way or the other that there's an advantage or a disadvantage. And, so that's my opinion on it. And I think it's a pretty fair opinion. It's an outlook on it, and maybe I'm coming from it from more of a college perspective. But I think college NCAA rules are always based on fairness. So I think most of the time, unless it's the selection committee. But that's another story for another day.
Why don't we talk about the win you guys had down there in Boca? You mentioned the bye week. How important was it for you to get this one heading into another bye as you try to develop a little bit of a rhythm with your team?
It's huge. We have some guys coming. Our college guys are about to pop off, and I think they're going to add us. You look at Joel Tinney and the Ray boys, what they're doing, and Damar, the goalie, and Mackey is one of the top face-off guys that nobody talks about. And he'll be obviously a huge part of Yale's success this weekend. So you look at those things, that gives us an opportunity to those guys. But to go 1-4, it's tough, man. Teams are winning games. It's tough to win in this league. So you never want to put yourself in a position where, okay, we got to rattle off. We have to win, 5 of our next 6 or we're done. So now this puts us in a situation where, we had a great road win. We have a little bit of chance to kind of take our breath now, get our college guys activated. And then, head on onto the road to Atlanta in a game that we feel is taken from us, and a chance to get even there, and try to win that season series, and try to get the tiebreaker in that game. And for us, it's just the biggest thing. One of the things I spoke about with the guys, no big picture talk. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's this game, one game, that's it. I don't want to hear championship. I don't want to hear playoffs. I don't want to hear we got to do this. We got to beat Atlanta, and that's got to be the focus point for our guys.
Hey, Coach, when do you anticipate Joel Tinney joining you guys?
Joel Tinney will be playing next weekend.
Nice. What will he bring to the table for you?
He's great. I think he gives us tremendous versatility. He's a guy that can play both ends of the field. I think he's great in a two-man game. Really excited to see his mesh with Will and Joey Walters, and he's great. I think he's a guy that can play defense. He can stay on and play offense. I think that makes things more difficult. For other teams. He's slippery when he has the ball. He's a great player. I think he checks a ton of boxes for us.
All right. Finally, I've got to ask about the banana boat photo that you guys had going on after that game down in Florida. We're showing it now on the screen.
Wow.
I'm sure you've probably seen it on Instagram. Your team went shirtless on the beach, Coach.
Listen, you follow these guys on Instagram and social media. They pump you up with their workouts. So sun's out, guns out. Our boys got it. They're gonna walk around and let everybody know what's up.
Yeah, there it is.
It's like a bunch of Zac Efrons. They're all just so jacked and young and handsome, Coach.
Jersey Shore's back on, man. My guys are trying to roll.
Jersey Shore goes to Florida with the New York Lizards.
Yeah, a little GTL action. I like that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Coach, appreciate the time and enjoy lunch with Will Manny.
You got it, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Joe.
Finally, up next, we'll wrap up Press Pass. I don't know if you can get much better than that. We're going to poke the bear, how Ohio looks to find a rhythm around all these bye weeks early on in the season.
Sometimes you do some things to change some things up to get a different spark.
So week 6 in Major League Lacrosse, a light one, just a couple of games, but you can cap off your Memorial Day Saturday with Machine and Hounds in Charlotte here on LSN. Game time set for 7:30 Eastern Time in the Queen City. And of course, you can see it right here on LAC Sports Network. And with that, our final coach of the afternoon, Ohio Machine coach Bear Davis. And Bear, we've got another bye week to talk about with you here. How do you try to find a rhythm early on in the season when you have a bye week early on, and now you try to get something going, and then you have another one to stop and sit?
Well, I think you look at everybody's schedule, and I think everyone has to, they all have to deal with something, whether it's a bunch of games right off the bat or a bye, or we're going to have a string of games coming up here real soon, and I think the trials and tribulations of just how the schedule is laid out is part of the gig. We all have things to work out, and it's been tough to maybe find a rhythm, but we've also would have had some coaches missing, or some guys that are playing in the NL missing, or we had a couple guys banged up too. So giving them some time off. So there's been some pros to it, but we also know that with a couple buys right off the bat means we're gonna have a string of games coming up.
Yeah, how important is for you guys to find that rhythm in this next string of games coming up?
Oh, I think for every team, it's very vital. I mean, you start getting guys, into the lineup, and just really trying. You can see in some of the games where the first couple of possessions maybe aren't so pretty. You just hope there are a couple instead of a whole quarter, and and some guys have stepped in and done great. It's been nice to see some of the rookies and some of the NLL guys come in and do their job right away, and certainly we hope that's for us, that's how it goes.
For you, you have the opportunity to sit and watch your first-round draft pick, Justin Gutterton, continue to perform in the NCAA tournament. What have you seen from him here down the stretch since you've drafted him?
I think Justin, the same things that, I think I've talked about on here before is his ability to be a little bit of a chameleon as far as what does the team need, and I think he could do that for you. I mean, as far as filling out the game, am I going to be an off-ball guy? Am I going to be a with-ball guy? Am I, anything to make his team around him better? I think his shot selection, changing up his shots, he does a great job of that. I'm excited about all kinds of things that he does, and fits right in with I think our team. Arguably Tom Shriver is very similar in that regard, in the sense that if we need a goal scorer or a feeder, Tom's pretty unselfish. And Kyle Harrison, who can be a guy that's taken on a hockey assist, and takes pride in that. So I think everybody just saying, hey, what's my role this game, and I want to perfect that role, and I think Justin kind of fits that mold.
Another college guy that you actually just activated today is Carson Milliken, the short stick defensive midfielder coming out of Notre Dame. What do you see from him, and what do you hope his role could be?
Carlson's a very big, strong, kid and man. He's a man, really, when you look at the way he plays. And, speaking with Jerry Byrne at Notre Dame, and our staff, Coach Nat, our D coordinators, spoke to Coach a lot, and just talking about what his skill sets are. And I know they were, very comfortable with not sliding to him on most occasions. And, it's tough. I think it's been real tough if you look at most of the great D mids in our league, and you look on our own roster with, even Dominique Alexander was a offensive mid in college, and guys generally strictly D mids in college, maybe sometimes have not translated over to the MLL, but we feel pretty confident Carlson will. Just watching film and the things that he's able to do, and so we're excited about what he brings to the table.
Coach, I know you're jonesing for some lacrosse, more lacrosse. You're going to have it this weekend. What kind of challenges will Charlotte give your team?
Charlotte, obviously, was playing at a pretty high level. They beat us last time out, so we're chasing their tail right now. And so the way I look at it, and we have to prove that we're a better team than them. I think they've got a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and those guys are all believing in their system, and they're a pretty exciting team to watch. And I think they went out. They had a tough game, with Denver, which I think everyone that goes out to Denver knows it's hard to go out there and get a win. It's a tough place to win. So I don't know how much I read into that game. But I know our group is also excited to get down there and get back to work on a Charlotte team that's beat us the last 2 times out. And it's more, when we look at it from a global perspective, it's more about us too. We need to make sure we're doing our job and taking care of business, with our guys.
With playing Charlotte this weekend, we may get a chance to see a Massa versus Massa situation at the faceoff X. Any talk about Kenny getting a chance to go up against his brother?
Yeah, I'm sure this won't be the first time these two have squared off against each other, one case or another. But if that should be the case, I think it'll be great. It's great for the game. I mean, they're both extremely tough competitors, and Kenny came in and I think he found his way, into our lineup and really working his way through the game. Became a scrapper, figured some things out, and his brother's done a real nice job. But I think that's just part of the game, but it's definitely unique, and we're excited to see it if it should come to fruition.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Finally, we only got like 20 seconds, so quick. Pick for championship weekend.
I'm gonna go. I don't know. I'm just excited that either Yale or Albany is going to get into the finals. I mean, I think that's.
I like that. There you go.
I mean, the other two, it's going to be great. But the other thing that's scary is I was looking at today, 9 out of the 10 leading scorers for Salisbury are all underclassmen, and I don't know how Coach Berkman keeps doing that, but it's awesome what they do there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to see.
Great coaching, just like Bear Davis, the defending champion coach of the Ohio Machine. Coach, appreciate the time. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
And that's it for MLL Press Pass. For Emerson Latzia, I'm Travis Eldridge. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.